Take your time. Take your time.
Hey guys, this is Hope Said It, a new setting and new people to add to this video. I have my husband here.
Hello.
Brandon. This could be the only time you see him, so take it all in. And I have our newest addition, which is Andrew, and he looks like he's having a ball. So I just wanted to introduce you guys to Andrew because today we are talking about paternity leave. You saw my last vlog, or you should have saw my last vlog, and we were talking about, well, I was talking about just the difference between maternity leave and paternity leave, and how paternity leave, I feel that if it goes a little too long, it starts to turn into a staycation. But, you know, Brandon read it and he did not feel the same way. Shocking. And we're just going to go into it and kind of get the fatherly view of it, you know, and you'll just see who you agree with. So let's get to it. Okay, I had to get the baby out the way, and hopefully this conversation won't be too debate-filled, because we're known to do that. But my latest blog post, like I said, was about staycation and paternity leave, how there's a fine line between that. And Brandon kind of just wanted to chime in on what he thought about the whole leaving, you know, the baby, just a new addition to the family period, and how kind of maybe the guys get neglected a little. So he'll talk about that now.
So one of the biggest things when you have a child is most people who've actually had one. If you haven't had one, then your comments are not needed. But if you've actually had one, then you understand that this change is actually a family change, a dynamic change. It's actually a structural change to the entire household. So with that being said, if, for instance, let's say a parent, a family member, or somebody like that comes down with an illness, of course you check on that family member, you make sure they're okay, you make sure they have everything they need. Additionally, though, we all understand, we also talk to the family members as well, because they are also going through this with that family member. If your family member is sick, you're having to help that family member, you're having to emotionally deal with that and take care of that as well as yourself. With a child, it's the same thing for a father. As far as a father who's actually involved, I know some of y'all is, you know, whatever, but as far as a father who's involved and really trying to be on top of his game, especially with us, with the third kid, it really came through, having to deal with the other two. The mom obviously is taking care of the baby because, you know, that's what she's doing so that you can take care of the other older children. But of course, you are investing all of your time, your resources, your emotions, like all your effort into making sure mommy is okay, baby is okay. The other two kids get to where they need to go, whether it be school, you know, daycare. You're also trying to make sure that groceries are in the house. You're also trying to make sure that the normal everyday things get taken care of, such as servicing vehicles, taking care of things around the house, all of those type of things, right? But what I've noticed is that nobody actually ever comes to the father and says, hey, I understand you've been doing a lot of different things. Do you need any help carrying out all these tasks? Do you need someone to talk to? Like, are you okay as well? Because obviously your job as a father, as a husband, is to make sure your wife and your child are okay. Is anybody also doing that for you, though? Just no different than when you talk to a psychiatrist, people ask, well, who talks to them? So that's one of my things where, yes, you are supposed to support, be there, help, do whatever you possibly can to make sure that the baby and the mother get everything that they need so that they can get back on their feet and, you know, everything like that. But who's also looking after you to just maybe tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, take a seat. Let me take care of this for you today. So it's not a factor of do something for me as a father so I can chill. It's a factor of, hey, help me out so I can continue everything else that's going on around here.
Okay, so when I talk about paternity leave and just my take on, it seems like if it's after 2 weeks, there's not much for you to do. Just in our situation, because the kids always take to me. Like, I know other fathers, sometimes the mom has, you know, issues with attachment and all that. But for what, with us, all 3 kids, they just did not want anybody but mommy.
For sure.
So after 2 weeks, where you helped me, but then it started turning into, I don't need help, it's all about the baby now. Do you think it was a staycation or no?
No, I do not. I do not think it was a staycation. Each kid, so Jay was the first, Micah the second, Andrew the third, presented a different dynamic. So Jay, being that it was the first kid, you know, I'm there 100% of the time, right? Even after those 2 weeks you talk about or whatever, frankly, I went back to work after those 2 weeks, but I was still there 24 hours a day, 24/7. First child, you know, you don't know what to do, you don't know what to expect. Everything is new. For Micah, He was a bit different only because we did have Jaden. And Jaden would have been what, 3 at the time?
3.
3, yeah. So he was going to his grandparents each day, so I was having to take him there, along with still, going to work and doing that sort of thing, while trying to help you out. But there was that balance that we tried to deal with, as far as, okay, I'm at work, you're still on leave, but I'm still having to do these other things as well. So it was harder to be able to say, hey, I'll stay up with him every night after I went back to work, because mind you, again, it was still a 2-week thing. The third kid is where we really get to what you're talking about as far as the staycation portion. Andrew was different because Andrew is not bottle fed, or he wasn't up until a week or so ago. So he's not bottle fed. So that takes out a huge chunk from what I could do compared to the other 2 children. Granted, they were bottle fed later on down the road, but he's not bottle fed. I'm not gonna say he doesn't like me, but with each child we understood at first they were attached to mommy. There came a point where they transitioned to daddy. Andrew's nowhere near that yet, so there's that element as well. And then lastly, being that now we have 2, and 3, and the other 2 were still going to daycare, still going to school. Now it became, okay, I'm getting up each morning. I have to take these 2 to 2 different spots. That basically was a 2.5 hour round trip in the morning. Still would have to do it in the afternoon. And then I was coming home and still having to do other things around the house. Most of it pertaining to Andrew. So Hope was busy, feeding him, watching him, taking care of him. Okay, I couldn't necessarily do that because he's bottle fed. And outside of being bottle fed, he just needed diaper change, hold him here and there, but there really wasn't much to do. So I took the liberty of saying, okay, we have a ton of clothes from other children. Sorting through those clothes, seeing what we have there. Going to the store, make sure everything's there. Obviously going back to the car stuff or other stuff around the house. So basically making sure that everything else in our hemisphere is taken care of, so that mommy and Hope and baby don't have to worry about any of that stuff. All she had to do was focus on that. But what I think came from that was the feeling from Hope that, okay, I would like, and when I say I mean Hope, would like a minute away to just breathe a bit because he's always under me. But when we try to do that, Andrew would cry, he would throw fits, all that kind of stuff. So that is why I think a lot of this stems from, to where the baby wants mommy. When he comes away from mommy, he's not happy, but mommy also needs a break. Daddy wants to give her a break, but baby don't want to give you a break.
Okay, so let me just clarify something. Yes, you are 100% right. I think that the fact that you're with the baby all the time, sometimes you don't see maybe everything else that's going on, because all you know is that I still have this baby with me. I'm talking about, I couldn't use the bathroom by myself. If I ate, I had to scarf it down real quick because the baby's gonna wake up. Showers had to be super quick. Everything was just all around this baby. And if he was sleeping, then maybe I could sleep, but sometimes I couldn't. And it was trying at times. I don't know, maybe that's too strong of a word. Maybe just stressful, overwhelming. It was overwhelming at times. So maybe doing that, and then maybe looking and seeing that there are still dishes, or looking and seeing that he's working on the yard, Yes, those are things that need to be done around the house. But me, in my state of mind, I think I'm just I don't care, just take this baby because I need to breathe too. And then I'm getting kind of envious because I'm seeing him moving free without something tethered, to him. And he's just okay, I'm out, I'm going here, and I can't go anywhere. I haven't been outside in weeks. So that's a little bit of where that's coming from too.
I think one of the biggest things though is priority. So for you, the baby was a priority. For me, the baby was a priority, but also understood we had other children, other things that needed to get taken care of. So they, in some way, took priority, because it was the kid's taken care of and mommy's straight. So then my priorities had to shift over to these other children to make sure they don't feel neglected, to make sure they get everything they need, to make sure things were as normal as possible for them while trying to integrate this new baby into the fold. So then with that came, like you said, he looks like he's moving freely, XYZ, while from my perspective, I'm looking at it from me. I look at it more so, I'm not moving freely. I'm doing everything that you can't do or you normally wouldn't do anyway, just because that's kind of how we divvy up our tasks. But these things have to continue to happen. So like you say, the yard, grass still got to get cut. Groceries, still got to buy groceries, diapers, school, yard. I still have work. So these things still have to get done. School as well, right? So the point is like the world doesn't stop, unfortunately. But for mommy, in a sense, it kind of does. Like it's on pause because your whole world revolves around this baby, the room or the house that you're living in, and you really don't get to go anywhere. So for you, it kind of stops. For everyone else, it keeps moving.
Yeah.
So I think there's also a little bit of, I'm not gonna say fear of missing out, but kind of that thing of, okay, everybody else is continuing to be able to do what they've been doing the entire time. Yeah, they can come say, congratulations on the baby, yada, 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 but they're not up late nights with the kid. They're not, having to change the kid. They're not having to figure out why he's fussy and diagnose on the fly, like what's wrong with him, those type of things. So the stresses that come along with it, they don't see, they don't have to deal with. And you, in a sort of way, solo were dealing with them because I was doing the other things. So I understand some of the frustration and things that come out from it. But again, it comes priority and then a perspective of we were just coming from two completely different angles for this thing.
We're kind of traditional, a little bit on the traditional side. So it's not like I never expected him to either stay up with the baby and not like, that's never what maternity leave for me at least is about. Since I know he has work the next day, I know that I'm, just up. So it turns into 3 months of not knowing what day it is, not knowing what time it is, just always being around the baby. So I think after a while, I probably started to resent you.
All right, well, yeah. Maybe.
Oh my goodness. Is there any advice, I guess, that you would give other people who could maybe they're gonna have a baby or they just had a baby or, any other advice for your fathers?
From a father's perspective, there's only but so much you're going to be able to do, right? So when we had our first kid, I distinctly remember we had our first kid. And I felt horrible because it was kind of like, well, what can I do? What can I do? I need to do something. Like I'm just here and I'm not doing anything, even though I was doing everything I possibly could. And mom had everything she needed, and if she needed anything, she would ask, and I would help, whatever. So understanding there's but so much you can do, so don't like stress yourself out and think like I'm not pulling my weight. If you're doing if she needs nothing, the baby's good. You've pulled all the weight you can pull. Just be there for that. Additionally, keep your emotions in check. Emotions are going to be very, very high. First kid, they solid, but as you get more children, emotions definitely get higher. And because now there's more personalities going around and there's more obligations as a parent that you have to deal with. You all are spread thin. But from my perspective, as a father, as a leader of the household, as the head of the household, you need to be able to maintain that balance. You need to be able to level set in the house, so to speak. So if you're going crazy and you're going haywire, your house is going to be out of order. So you need to be able to emotionally and mentally like stay in line, stay in check. But again, that goes to kind of the point I talked about earlier of being able to either have a support system, some dudes or people you can reach out to, whomever that will help you to maintain that balance, right? But yeah, being able to stay in the right headspace so that you can maintain a good, clean, healthy household is imperative, especially when raising young boys. They need to be able to see that yes, you have 1, 2, 3 boys, but like things didn't necessarily change as far as your demeanor, your attitude, the way you approached it. Each child, you gave as much attention, as much love as possible. Each child still got everything they needed, and dad just continued to provide and be there for all of them and mommy as well. And
I would just add that if you're a mom or mom to be who's kind of in that cloudy state right now, it will get better. I know maybe that feeling of resentment does set in. But kind of think of what's going on around the house. Now, maybe he's not doing anything, and that's a different conversation. But I'm just saying, for me, even in my blog post that I wrote, I feel like it was more of a frustration that I was writing, not necessarily 100% of my reality. Like, I know things were happening, obviously everything was getting done. My kids were getting to where they needed to be. But me being in my state, I was like, listen, I'm on maternity leave and you're chilling. That's what it looked like. I still feel kind of sort of how I felt, with the blog. I'm not saying it's a staycation. I'm saying maybe you're not it's not as intense or doesn't feel as intense, only because, you know, taking care of a baby is a lot of work. But at the end of the day, you know, it's a marriage or it's a partnership, whatever your situation is. And it's just 100%. And you give it. And if you give your all, you feel drained sometimes. But there you go. We're still in it.
Yeah, we here.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Follow Hope Said It, at Hope Said It on all platforms, really, Instagram, Twitter, even Facebook now. So keep up with my blog at hopesaidit.com, and we will see you later. Not we. I will see you later. Bye.
Stop playing house. Put the ring on.
Okay, we got to turn the mic off. This is too much.
Take your time, take your time.